All right, Matt, you're up first. Your primetime action NFL Power Rankings Top 10.
Let us do it. 1 through 5 stay the same. Bucks, Cardinals, Bills, Rams, Cowboys. Those all stay the same. For me, every single one of those teams, in my opinion, are the real contenders for the Super Bowl this year. I think those 5 teams are head and shoulders above everybody else. We get into the second 5. We've got the Packers at 6. I think this is just a placeholder for them to fall after this week. That being said, we have to rank these teams on where they are today and what they've done so far. And the Packers have gone out there and gotten it done. Whether I think that they have long-term success or not, irrelevant when I'm doing these rankings today, because that's just the way that is. So I think the Packers are in for some regression here. The big mover, obviously, of the week, Bengals move up to number 7. And honestly think that that's probably appropriate to where they belong. I mean, this is a team that has gotten it done not only on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. And that is what was really surprising to me. There's 2 things that I think stands the test of time for this Cincy team, which is why I think they'll be there at the end. We were worried about Joe Burrow's health last year. They made some moves. They made some draft picks. They did what they had to do. They changed up some of the blocking schemes. They also changed up some of the plays that they're doing. Ball's getting out of Joe Burrow's hand a lot quicker, and teams are blitzing less. You want to know why? Do you know who the number 1 quarterback against the blitz is in the NFL? I think I just told you the answer.
Joseph.
It's Joe Burrow. And so you're looking at this, and I think that they've got what it takes to be there towards the end. I've got the Chargers at number 8. This is just kind of a de facto move up here, because you'll notice one of the teams that was there last week is no longer there. The Titans move up to number 9. Ravens down all the way to number 10. And this isn't just an overreaction, I think, to that Bengals game. I think there are some fundamental problems with this Ravens team as we move forward. Again, this is a team that was built on the idea and thought this all through training camp that they were going to be still a power running team. They had to change things up by necessity because of the way that the injuries fell. Then they had a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I think they ran a little bit above expectation so far. I think some regression is to come in for them as well. So that's my 10, and it looks like you and I are fairly close.
We have the same exact 10 teams reshuffled. We both have knocked the Chiefs out of our top 10. And how long would you say it's been? If we had done these power rankings for the last, since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, you'd have to probably go back before that, where the Chiefs were outside of the top 10 of your power rankings.
For sure.
So that's the big news here. My top 5 remain the same too. Bills were idle. Bucks beat a bad Bears team. Cardinals beat a bad Texans team. Chargers were idle. Rams beat a bad Lions team. So those top 5 stay the same for me. The Titans, who I've had in mind from the beginning and let the hate wash over me when I first had them at 9. People are like, what? The Titans? I got them at 6, man. Cowboys go down. They were idle. Packers go down 1 because they honestly could have lost to Washington. The Bengals move from 11, they were outside, to 9 because the Bengals have to be in there. I'm with you. They got to be a top 10 team now. And the Ravens, like you, move to 10. So we are not all that different. Chiefs are out of the top 10. Browns, largely because of injuries, are out of the top 10, and that's just how that cookie crumbles. Kelly.
Yeah, my top 5 teams remain the same for now the 3rd week in a row. I did reshuffle the Bucks and Rams though. Went back and forth. I think the Bucks are just a little bit better of a team right now, above the Rams. So just flip flop from 2 and 3. Some people might say I'm looking at this a little too closely, but yeah, hey, they're still right there.
No one's getting
Travis Darno's
roll over
2-out soloed shot.
Roll
over on the Skins game. He belted that.
Where was that one, Isaiah?
Isaiah Von Winkle did not give you Travis D'Arnaud.
Isaiah downstairs feeding Kelly picks.
The Timberwolves with 44 first quarter points. By the way,
the Lakers are beating the Thunder at the end of the first quarter 41-19. Is that good?
That's good. I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Timberwolves. It's 44-32 in Milwaukee.
Guys, 30 seconds of sports talk. Right? Are the Lakers better without LeBron?
I tell you, sometimes I roll in on the radio side on a numbers game, and we have mainstream media TVs on, and literally, like after week 2, they were like, "Should Justin Fields force his way out of Chicago?" I'm like, really? You spent a half an hour on this? Oh my goodness!
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, Kelly.
Back to my
to interrupt,
brother.
Sorry to interrupt, Kelly.
No, all good. So yeah, to me, I thought it was kind of interesting because Matt, you and I have the same top 5, a little bit different order. Although maybe it's just 2 teams, it might just be the top teams. same top 5. I got to be honest. To me, to me, it's a pretty clear top 5, and then after that is where it trails off. Packers, I agree with exactly with what you said. To me, this week they've got to be there. Does that necessarily mean where they're going to be at next week or down the line? No, it doesn't. But right now, to me, they've got to be around there. And then it's 4 AFC teams, and I kind of don't really care what order you have them in because I didn't really know what order to have them in. But to me, they're the next step down, and I have Bengals, Ravens, Titans, then Chargers. You can tell me any of those 4 are out of order though, and I can't really argue with that.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we have another segment for this because there's a glaring difference between you and I and Gill. Gill is much higher on the Chargers than you and I are.
Yep. I've also been much higher on the Titans than both of you have been, and well, I think I feel pretty good about that. So we'll talk about that, and just the notion that we have the same 10 teams again for the second straight week. That's pretty unusual, but I think it's right. Okay, back to our power rankings. You take issue with where I rank the Chargers, Matt?
Well, I just noticed that the big difference in ours is where Kelley and I have the Chargers and apparently our thoughts on the Chargers and where you have the Chargers and your thoughts on the Chargers. And mainly the Cowboys, that you have the Cowboys so a couple of spots below them. I think where Kelley and I feel Cardinals, Bucks, Rams, Bills, Cowboys are the 5 kind of true legitimate Super Bowl contenders, whereas you've got the Cowboys down at 7, you've got the Chargers up at 4. So that would mean you kind of feel the Chargers are a Super Bowl contender?
Well, I didn't know we were doing this through Super Bowl contender, but what I would say is that I think coaching matters. And I think the Cowboys are largely deficient in that category. And I think if I have a game between the Chargers and the Cowboys, part of my handicap, much of my handicap, is going to be the coaching mismatch of Brandon Staley versus Mike McCarthy. And what you will see is in my group of teams, with the exception of Cliff Kingsbury, because, well, they're undefeated, so I can't really exclude the Cardinals because they deserve to be where they are, certainly a top 3 team at a minimum. Really, I am loaded with coaches that I really like at the top. And the Cowboys, it's going to be tough for me to take the Cowboys that seriously with that as their head coach. I just don't think – I think Mike McCarthy has gotten away with so many poor coaching decisions this year. And Greg Zuerlein has bailed him out, and Dak bails him out for a living. That's the difference for me, quite frankly.
I'm okay with that response, Matt, honestly, because that is the – I wouldn't have them ranked that way. I think the Cowboys are a superior team to the Chargers, but I absolutely 100% believe and agree when you say, Gil, that at some point McCarthy is going to rear his ugly head, and he kind of has a couple times and been saved.
He's got
like you said, he's been bailed out by some of his wouldn't it be the most Cowboys thing ever to roll into the playoffs as one of the hottest teams in the league, and then the first game make a couple just mind-blowing coaching errors, and then they're out of it right away like that? I feel like I can see that coming right away.
I do not believe you can buy a Cowboys Super Bowl futures ticket or an NFC futures ticket because of that factor.
We've had a lot of bad coaches win Super Bowls, though, with just superior talented teams. I mean, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Gary Kubiak won a Super Bowl. If we look at, no one thinks Bruce Arians is like the greatest coach in the world. He'd be like media. If you were making your power rankings, if you had your power rankings, he'd be between 14 and 16 or something like that. If you had
Bruce Arians has the humility of delegating though to assistants very well. So
Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl.
Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl because he had an unbelievable. The fact that he only won one is really the story with Pete Carroll. Damning him with faint praise. That to me is the story with that. The fact that you could only win one with Russell Wilson on a rookie contract and the Legion of Boom. So,
Mike McCarthy also has a Super Bowl.
Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl because he had Aaron Rodgers, yeah. So, I don't know. Is it possible? Yes. But give me the Brandon Staleys and the Sean McDermotts of the world over a Mike McCarthy-led Cowboys team. Anyway, they're our own personal power rankings, so, that's where it fell for me. I don't think they're that. What was another team? I've had the Titans ranked higher than you guys. They just came off 2 wins over the Bills and who was this last week? Oh, the Chiefs back to back. So I feel pretty vindicated about that. And I definitely think that the a lot of my top 5 is also idle. So there wasn't really much movement, or they beat just really bad teams. So I didn't feel inclined to move any of them this year, this week, rather.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I first saw that with almost all of us, that basically our top 5 didn't move much at all 3 of us. But then I thought about that. It's like either they were off or playing far inferior opponents.
Max Fried is getting dinged up left and right, and now with a throwing error, it is going to be 4-1 Astros.
There was no one even close to third base right there.
They got a 2-1 lead. They just got a seeing eye ground ball to make it 3-1, but a throwing error going to third. Nobody there. 4-1 Astros. They have busted this open here.
It was like he made up his mind he was throwing to third no matter what, and it didn't matter that there was no one within 12 feet of the bag.
Max Fried has not looked sharp in this game from the outset. And the Astros feel good. That's your guy Maldonado with that hit right there.
He crushed it. Look.
hit him where they ain't.
He could have rolled it right through there a little bit faster.
Ooh, that was Rosario. What was that throw? That was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what he saw or was doing. It's like I said, it's almost like he made up his mind no matter what when he was charging the ball. That's where he was going with it, despite the fact that no one was there at third base.
Jeez. 4-1 Astros, second inning here. Other than that, was there anything else that you found noteworthy? So here's the thing. Again, we always bring this up when we do our power rankings. So the Browns out of the top 10 largely because of injuries. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs out because of performance. You can't keep them in the top 10 anymore.
You can't.
Where's the cliff after like 12?
And here's the thing. If you look at our 10 at this point, and people are going to say, "Oh, you're speaking, you're talking hyperbole." I'm not. At this point, the way that the Chiefs are performing and the way that Andy Reid is calling games and the turnovers that they keep committing, I do not think that they are a better team than any of the 10 that we have.
I don't.
That we have in our list right here.
I literally, with a Survivor play, I mean, how many times do you have a double-digit home favorite in a standalone game in Survivor and you're terrified of it? Like, that should be double-digit home favorite standalone game, like a primetime game. You should be, like, coasting with a pick like that in Survivor. I know, Giants. There's Giants fans listening who are like, don't be worried. But I am, because I just don't trust that D at all. And Mahomes has thrown a pick in 6 straight games. He has co-leader for most interceptions in the NFL with Zach Wilson. Both of them have 9.
I know what people are going to say. They're going to say, you're trying to tell me that you like the Bengals over the Chiefs right now. You give me Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon against that defense with the way that the Bengals are playing defense right now as well, that they're not going to be able to hold Patrick Mahomes and this offense to, having to punt 2 or 3 times. I think that's all they have to do.
They just got crushed by the Titans.
I mean, even this wouldn't even be a huge surprise for anybody who watched ours last week, because Gill, I might be wrong. I think you had them the worst. Did you have them at 10? I think you had them at 9 or 10. The Chiefs
10.
Yeah, I think it was 10.
I believe I received some flack for that.
You might have. You probably did. I don't even
8,
remember.
So I don't think it was.
But you and I we're even holding on to that hope. I think it literally was after this past weekend where it's like, all right, we've seen enough. We've seen enough now. Like it's been multiple situations where we thought they were going to storm back and look good. And yes, do I think they can still beat up on some of the worser teams in the league? Yes. But when we've seen them face good competition, they haven't lost. Like they've lost badly with some of these games. And so I think they're rightfully on the outside. Now, are they even 11 or 12 to you guys?
They got to be 12, I think.
They're certainly 12, I think.
11 or 12. You could interchange them and the Browns. It doesn't really matter because they're kind of both in the same thing right now to me. I think both of them are, just teams that aren't, again, that are inferior to the 10 that we have.
The Browns largely because of injuries, though. I mean,
we just don't know what they are when they've got the injuries they have. You just don't know what they are.
After 12, and I'm not sure. Maybe it's even after 10. Maybe it's after 11. It's a pretty sizable cliff for me. Like I couldn't tell you.
Saints, Vikings.
Right.
There is a disrespect by all of us for the Raiders in this.
There is, yes. That's a 5-2 team that none of us have even mentioned.
And there is some disrespect there. I should come around. Maybe I'm holding on to my priors.